Popcorn chicken, a fast food classic that is loved by many. Really, what is there not to love about a crispy nugget of chicken? Today I'll be showing you how to cook this two ways, deep fried and oven baked. To begin, we want to prep the chicken the night before so it can bathe in that marinade overnight. We are going to be using chicken thighs as I am a big believer that this is the best part of the chicken for dishes like this. Most recipes call for the chicken breast, but I can't help but notice that more often than not they turn out very dry. Plus, the flavour is above and beyond that of a chicken breast. Thigh meat, or brown meat as some of you may refer to, is a lot more tender and has a higher fat content. As a result, once cooked it always ends up far juicier and is pretty hard to overcook. Now, we want to cut the meat into small cubes. Easiest way to dice a chicken thigh is to cut it into 3 strips, then cut each strip into 3 cubes. No surprises here, but the size of the cube should resemble that of a piece of popcorn. Go ahead and cut all of the thighs into cubes and then set aside ready for the marinades. For the first marinade, we are going to be using buttermilk. The acidity in this helps tenderise the chicken and make it even juicier, as well as helping with the crispy coating later on. Tip 380 grams or 1.5 cups of buttermilk into a new bowl. For the seasoning, we're going to use cayenne pepper, freshly cracked black pepper, smoked paprika, garlic powder, and some sea salt. Tip this into the buttermilk and give it a good mix until all combined. Just look at the colour of that. You already know it's going to be packed full of flavour. Add half of the thigh meat into the bowl and coat each popcorn piece of chicken evenly with the marinade. Cover in cling film or plastic wrap and then set aside in the fridge to marinate overnight. Trust me, you'll certainly notice the difference and you'll be thanking me later on when you devour the entire batch of popcorn chicken in one go. Next up, we want to prepare the second marinade for the oven baked version. For this, we are simply going to put a dry rub on the chicken. Into a new bowl, add the same spices as before, but this time only half the amount. Add the rest of your diced chicken thigh to the spices and mix together until again, each piece has a nice coating of the beautiful rub. As before, cover the bowl in cling film or plastic wrap and place into a fridge to marinate overnight. Assuming you've left them to marinate overnight and you've had a beautiful night's sleep dreaming of all things chicken, we'll start by cooking the deep fried version. Grab yourself a heavy bottoms pan, or if you have one like me, use a deep fat fryer, and pour in your vegetable oil. The key to a good crisp on the chicken here is to use fresh oil. Heat the oil to roughly 180 degrees or 356 degrees Fahrenheit. Whilst the oil is warming up, we'll go ahead and dredge the marinated chicken pieces in the flour. For the flour dredge, we simply want to mix 1 cup of cornstarch with 3 cups of all-purpose flour. Add in the same quantities of spices to the flour as we did with the buttermilk marinade. Once we have the flour ready, go ahead and lift the pieces of chicken out of the marinade and into the flour. The key to getting really crispy chicken is to make sure that you press down and get as much flour sticking to the chicken as possible. Now the oil is up to temperature, it's time to fry the chicken in batches. Lower the chicken into the oil and cook for roughly 4 minutes. We are looking to get a nice golden colour on the outside of the chicken, whilst not overcooking the inside too. When ready, lift the chicken out of the oil with a slotted spoon or basket and tip onto a cooling rack. Immediately sprinkle on some flaky salt. This is an essential part as if you do it later on, the salt will simply roll off the chicken and will not coat it. And there you have it, deep fried popcorn chicken. Time to show you the oven baked version. In a new bowl, crack 2 eggs and beat together with a whisk until smooth and all of the whites are incorporated into the yolks. Preheat a fan oven to 200 degrees Celsius or 395 degrees Fahrenheit. In another bowl, add 1 cup of all-purpose flour, and then in your final bowl, add 2 cups of panko breadcrumbs. Go ahead and dip the chicken into the flour, shaking off any excess, then into the egg and coat fully. Finally, add the egg-coated chicken pieces into the breadcrumbs and evenly coat, ensuring no gaps of flesh are left behind. Again, really press the breadcrumbs into the chicken to maximise the amount of crumbs on each piece. Set aside onto a raised baking tray whilst finishing off the dredging for the rest of your chicken pieces. You should end up with some wonderfully even-coated, breadcrumbed to the max chicken popcorn pieces. The key to a crispy non-burnt coating when baking in the oven is to lightly spray the top of the chicken piece with some oil. Place into the oven and cook for 15 to 20 minutes, turning halfway through and giving the other side another spray of oil. Once cooked, you should end up with yet again some really crispy and juicy pieces of popcorn. The only thing left to do is to taste them. By the looks of it, they're very crispy on the outside and feel nice and juicy to the touch, so I'm very hopeful. I have to say, for the amount of effort it goes into making them both, on a daily basis, this would be so much easier to do. This is obviously a treat, you're frying it in oil, it's going to be really crispy, what can you expect? But these, something special about them. Coated in those panko breadcrumbs and with that little spray of oil just gives them that extra crisp, and honestly, I'm very pleasantly surprised by this. Definitely give them both a go, but if you're in a rush, do this. If you've got time and it's a treat, cook them like this. Until next time.